SEC fans, welcome to Week 8 of Best of the West. I'm Kevin Bohannon, and alongside me, as always, my man Jake Thomas. How's it going, Jake?
Hey Kevin, hey guys, good to see y'all tonight. And yeah, we're back on Best of the West, where you know at all times we are free and clear of golf balls being thrown at us.
We stick to hot dogs in Death Valley, things like that. We don't throw sharp thud objects. And when I say thud objects, when they hit you, it go thud. So,
Right? Yeah.
we're glad Lane and the Ole Miss team made it out of there safe and sound. I know they had a lot more injuries during the game again this week, so we pray for their swift return from injury. So, welcome to the most boring week of college football of the year. It seems like everybody's got an off week, or they play the Sisters of the Poor directional Valley State down the street. So, we're going to have a lot of fun on this show. We're going to start out with some midseason grades, do a really quick Week 8 preview, and then we'll play our version of What If. We'll come up with some really out there scenarios, and you never know. As my man said on Angels in the Outfield, it could happen. And as we know from 2007, anything could happen in college football. So, mid-season grades. Now, the way we graded these are we just pulled them out of there. No, I'm kidding. We take a look at what we thought the preseason projection would be for that team and where they're at right now. Are they performing way above and beyond? That's your A and A minuses. Are they middle of the road? There's your B's. And are they just flat? C's? And then D's and F's, F's are for the East, though. But we're glad that somebody could get out of the basement. South Carolina did a really good job getting their first conference win last week, and now they're stuck with Missouri and Vanderbilt down there. So I'm going to have to eat a lot of crow if Missouri beats Arkansas this year, and I'm just going to lose my mind.
You better hush.
All right, we're going to go mid-season grades, and we're going to go based on the conference standings right now. And if you look at the conference standings, you got Alabama, Auburn, Ole Miss, LSU, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, and then the Arkansas Razorbacks. All right, Jake, Alabama. I'm going to give a B+ to, mostly because their defense has not played up to the potential that everybody thought they would. Bryce Young has come out and done some really good things. He's in the Heisman conversation, putting up those Alabama-type quarterback numbers that everybody likes to see this time of the year. But at 6-1, 3-1 overall, I went into this year thinking, yes, they're going to win the game, okay? But as you know, it's not, if you win, it's how you win. That's in the eyes of a lot of pollsters and voters out there. So I'm giving Alabama a B+. What about you, Jake?
I gave them an A-, and yeah, the defense is the big concern. But more importantly, talking about the defense, it was a great improvement last week, against Mississippi State. And by the way, Alabama is, I believe, the only SEC team who has not given up a touchdown against that air raid attack that Mike Leach has down to Mississippi State since he's been down there. So it was more a complete game by Alabama last week, but I'm giving them an A- because of how good Bryce and the offense has been, even though there's a lot of new young starters on that offensive side of the ball.
Good deal. So, yeah, we're right there in the same range. Going to Auburn. Auburn comes in at 5-2. They moved to 2-1 with a win last week over Arkansas, 38-23. I'm with right there at Auburn. I'm giving them a B+. They kind of outperformed what I thought they would be this year, and it's because of Bo Nix's inconsistent play. But they're right there in the B+ range for me.
Yeah, I got them at B as well because, I just – Bo Nix, you're either going to get, 22 or 30 for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns out of them, or you're going to get, 15 or 40 for 115 yards and 3 picks and one touchdown. So inconsistent play. They had some receivers still having trouble catching balls. Now that defense is really good. They're better than average. So
yeah, they're better than average. The Wooten kid really flies to the football.
Yeah.
I think Arkansas had over 460 yards on them last week and kind of did what they wanted to do. They have the more of the approach of bend but don't break right now. Arkansas moved it into Auburn territory the first 5 times they had the football and only came away with 10 points. So,
Then what happened?
yeah, to your point, there was a lot that happened. Situational play calling and Arkansas shooting himself in the foot. They didn't play up to their potential last week, and it showed. If you look at the box score of that game and look at the stats, you would think Arkansas won that game by 10 to 14 points, and it didn't happen. And Bo Nix played his best game of the year. He was 21 of 26, season high 292 yards, and flipped in a couple of long touchdowns. And then, of course, the SEC officiating struck its head in the middle of things again.
Yeah.
So that's everything in the nutshell from my perspective of what happened.
Yeah, that I don't say who the guy's name is, but the Facebook user who commented Auburn's playing above their heads right now. I would agree with that because Harsin's a brand new coach. I would envision maybe a 7-win season out of them, but they're only 2 games away, and we still got. It's when does 95 Corey? By golly, you need to put that in your name. But so I agree with you, Corey. They're playing out of their minds right now, but with a new coach. But they can easily have 9 wins, which for an Alabama fan that sucks because having to face a 9-win team in Jordan Hare at the end of the year has never worked out well for Bama. So I'm kind of concerned.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a really good game. Ole Miss 2-1 in conference play, with that loss coming to Alabama at 5-1 overall. I went with B for Ole Miss. Defense is not really that much better, but Matt Corral is having a phenomenal season. Should be getting an invitation to New York. He is one of the most dynamic players, not only SEC but in the conference or in the nation. Plus, he's going to be a really high draft pick next year.
Yeah, and honestly, I went A- here because they are playing out of their minds offensively. Now defensively, they're still about an average defense, SEC wise. But Matt Corral is a difference maker. Without Matt Corral, Ole Miss probably has 4 losses already.
Yeah,
so
no doubt.
He is the glue of that team, and when I did my pick, my gradings, I went how are they doing this year, and how does the outlook look for their overall win total? And I don't think they're going to lose another game. So
they shouldn't.
So
yeah.
I think they're playing out above average than what I would expect, because I would have thought it might have been another year before Lane would have had this kind of success.
Yeah, the game against Tennessee proved a lot last week. LSU, I went with C-, and it would have been a D if not for the win at Florida last week. 49-42. That was a big win against Florida. Who knows what's going to happen the rest of the year? Orgeron, of course, is leaving at the end of this year with his $17 million in tow. Yep. Gotta love it. He's going to count that all the way to the bank. So, yeah, C- for LSU. They're 4-3 and 2-2 in the conference.
Yeah, I had them as right there too. I had them as a C. They at times they have looked good, and yeah, I'm with you. It would have probably been a D for me if they wouldn't have beat Florida last week. But they beat Florida without pretty much their best player in Boutte. So. Yeah, that was a lot of guts to win that game. And Max Johnson, I'm a firm believer in him. He's a really good quarterback. He just has no weapons right now to throw to, which is shocking because, you're in LSU. Louisiana is full of talented high schoolers. Get some recruiting down there. What the crap's going on?
Yeah, Tyrion Davis-Price went for 287 yards last week, so they really didn't miss Boutte. And then, of course, Max Johnson, being a game manager as he has, made his plays. Texas A&M gets a big old fat D for me right now. And it's not the fact that they lost Haynes King, because as we know, Jimbo Fisher said Zach Calzada was right there. Of course, they beat Alabama, but they're not playing to their potential. They lost to Arkansas. They lost to Mississippi State. They lost to the 2 worst teams in the conference right now. You can't give them above a D.
Yeah, yeah, they're. I gave them a C, right, a C minus because I mean of the win against Alabama. They lost their, 2 games in order to look forward to Alabama. I mean they pretty much game plan for Alabama for 3 weeks, and you saw it in that game. Calzada had the game of his life, kind of like Stephen Garcia did. So I would give him a C minus, D plus, maybe. I'm in that range. So
Yeah.
they're not living up to their potential because I mean Isaiah Spiller, not is it Isaiah or is it CJ
Yeah.
Spiller?
It's CJ
Right,
Spiller.
CJ Spiller. Yeah, I always think I always get the two mixed up, but
It's
yeah,
Isaiah Spiller. Yeah.
yeah, he's an amazing back, and he just hasn't been able to do much this year.
Yeah. Mississippi State, C, because they're right at where I thought they would be, just average.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same way.
Yeah.
They're kind of getting it together, but they ran into Alabama last week, kind of slowed things down. But they're just an average team right now.
Yep. Arkansas 1-3 in conference play, 4-3 overall. Going into the season, could see them being a 7-win team. I still think they get there. They're going to need some help though. They'll get a win this weekend against UAPB, and we'll talk about it in a minute. Missouri is looking good, but I gave the Hogs a C plus right now. Special teams errors have been a really big issue. Penalties and defense the last few weeks. So good, solid C plus right now overall. I think the offense is coming together. They've had some really good weeks since Georgia, and that's really hard to bounce back from. But they got to shore up the defense if they want to get to that 7-win mark.
Yeah, I had a B minus on these guys. I mean, I think offensively they're playing well. KJ Jefferson stepped up and has become a daggum football player for you guys. And defensively they still got a few things to shore up, like you said. But they took Ole Miss to the absolute last second. That was a very fun game to watch. Probably one of the best all year.
Yeah.
And they still got Alabama, so they still got a chance to prove that they belong, and at least in the conversation with the bigs. But I think it's going to be another year or two for Sam Pittman, but he's on the right track.
Yeah. So as we mentioned, yeah, we'll move on into our Week 8 preview. And it starts with that Arkansas game. They play for the first time in state since like 1940 or something like that. And if a lot of you guys, if you watch and you're from Arkansas, you know how much of a big deal this is. Everybody else out there that has in-state schools like Auburn, Alabama, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, LSU can play Tulane. A lot of those schools, Texas, of course, they play everybody in state. This is a big deal because there's not the only other D1 program in Arkansas on the FBS level is Arkansas State. And Frank Broyles, longtime athletic director at the University of Arkansas, had a long-standing rule that you're not going to play anybody else in state. It went through Jeff Long, and Hunter Yurchek said, it's going to be best for the state. We're going to start playing everybody. So I know they're scheduled to play Arkansas State 2025. They've already played in baseball. They've already played everybody else. Basketball, they're heading down that same road. This will not be a close game this weekend. I picked 52-10. They're going to be favored by 50. So, what's your score prediction on this, Jake?
No, it's a wrap. Like you said, I think 55-10 is what I picked.
Okay.
I mean, it's going to be a snooze fest.
Yeah, deal. It's really snooze fest. 11 o'clock in the morning at Memorial Stadium here in Little Rock. So, but if you want some lines and up to date lines, head on over to betonline.ag. They're our proud sponsor for all of our Believe podcasts on here. And always thank you to Willis Digital Media for hooking us up, producing our show for us. LSU at Ole Miss. And when I said earlier, I told Steven, I said, it's the most boring week in college football. He said, it's LSU week. And I said, well, for y'all, it's going to be fun. But at the Grove, 2:30 Central Time, LSU visits Ole Miss, Mississippi, Black Bear, Land Shark, Rebel Town. Let's see here. I got Ole Miss winning this one by a touchdown.
Yeah, I believe I picked Ole Miss as well in our picks this week because, I mean, yeah, I just don't see how LSU is going to win this game. They just don't have enough weapons to stay to stay competitive with them.
If you gave up 42 to Florida, you're definitely going to give up 42 to Ole Miss.
In the first half.
Yeah, the first half. Mississippi State Cowbell Bulldogs against the Vanderbilt. We like baseball Commodores. Mississippi State will probably win this game just because they have a little bit more talent than Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt is not very good this year.
Yeah, it probably be like a 31-20 type game, I think.
Yeah, if Vanderbilt can score 20, who knows? Really intriguing matchup is the Volunteers. It's always used to be the third Saturday in October game. Mm-hmm. Tennessee at the Rolling Tide, Crimson Red, Alabama. Alabama's going this game by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm still wondering if Hendon Hooker plays because the spread, is 22.5. Yeah. If he plays, it's going to be closer than that. If Milton is the guy that's going to go, it's going to be a blowout. It'd probably be that 30.
That's true. My 14 points is if Hooker plays, but who knows? That comes your way at 6 o'clock Central, 7 Eastern, and I believe that is on ESPN. And then fun matchup in prime time, South Carolina Gamecocks, cock-a-doodle-doo, at the 12th man, the Texas A&M Aggies. Aggies are going to kill them. They roll. I think they run the ball all over the field on them.
Yeah, I mean, Missouri can't stop the run. And I think this is where Spiller has a tremendous game. And and it's going to be I think it's going to be a blowout.
Yeah, I think A&M's going to cover right there. Beamer's bunch and Beamer ball, they're getting better every week. He didn't come into the best situation we know, but I'm a really big Shane Beamer fan. So
I am too.
Going to be interesting to see. And then of course Auburn is off this week.
Good. I need to be off every week.
Okay, so now we're going to play What If. What if anything happened? Okay, so I got to thinking the other day, and I had a really good interview on our Hog Talk podcast with Josh Pate a couple weeks ago. He covers Late Kick, watch for 24/7, CBS Sports. A lot of folks out there. Really good. Go check him out on Twitter. It's Late Kick, Josh, I think. So what if 2007, we talked about this on this show, is 2021 starting to look like 2007? That was the year, of course, Appalachian State beat Michigan 34-32 in the big house, got $1 million, went to the house. So what if Jake said War Eagle instead of Roll Tide? That would be freaking awesome.
Not happening.
If Auburn beats Alabama, he has to say that on Best of the West.
I didn't say that. I'm not. No.
Come on.
No.
If Arkansas beats Alabama, can you woo Pig Suey?
I will. I mean, I like Arkansas.
Yeah, I know you do. So,
but I will not ever say War Chicken out of my
War Chicken. Yeah, I say War Eagle Chicken. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, but yeah, what if? So right now you got some craziness happening. A lot of people, especially up in the North Midwest of Ohio, Michigan State, Penn, Iowa State, over there. Those guys are just, no, we cannot get 2 teams in the SEC. So, Jake, what if the SEC gets 2 teams in and the rest of the nation just boycotts the football playoff from now on?
I'm fine with that. I mean, honestly, it's come down, and unless you're Clemson, but Clemson has no chance getting in this year.
No.
It's pretty much come down to an SEC team in the championship game every single year.
Yeah.
I mean, you might as well call it the SEC championship game times 2, because that's what it is. Because Alabama's been in it, LSU's been in it. I mean, it all comes down to an SEC team. And most, unless 20, I think it was 2016 Alabama got beat. I mean, they got curb stomped by Clemson. Or 2018, whichever. But
it was 18, yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, it has been an SEC team who's pretty much won it.
Yeah, Clemson. Yeah, I love it. What if the SEC gets 2 in and 1 isn't Alabama? I don't see that.
If Alabama, if they do beat Georgia in the SEC championship game, if they win out, beat Georgia, they're going to be in it, and Georgia will be in it too.
Right.
I just don't see how. Now, with Alabama 2 losses, it would be tough unless there's.
Oh, yeah, if Alabama 2 losses, they're not getting in. We're playing the Ole Miss scenario. You and I both said they're going to finish out 11-1. And honestly, I think it would be the Texas A&M scenario from last year. They're not going to put an 11-1 team in that did not get to play in their conference title game, not because their name's not Alabama. We know that, right? So, good scenario. Don't think it happens. All right, Jake. What if a G5 team makes the college football playoff? Will the Pac-12's head explode?
Probably. And I think, there's a good chance it happens because, Oregon could lose 2 games. If they lose tomorrow night, they'll have 2 losses already. Cincinnati has still not lost a game. And since, yes, Steve.
Yeah, and they're ranked number 2 in the nation right now.
Exactly. So, and the only Pac-12 team that has a chance right now, I think, is Oregon. They're the only one that's in the top 10, I believe, in the rankings right now. But if they lose to UCLA, there's no hope for a Pac-12 team to get in.
Yep. It says we got a comment on our chat. Since he is Big 12 now, is that kind of like the hangover Bangkok has him now? Cincy's not quite Big 12 yet, but we're going to say they are. But I do think Cincy crashes the party this year.
I do too.
And I think it's a glorious thing. It needs to happen. So, Jake, what if an SEC coach goes to LSU?
Ooh, that's a big what if, but it's a possibility. Who do you think is that coach? If it was possible.
Oh, I have no idea.
Speculation. Of
Jimbo has already come out and said no. A lot of people are thinking Lane Kiffin from Ole Miss, but I don't think Lane leaves Ole Miss. I think he wants to put roots there. So Tiger fans that are really wanting on the Lane train because they see that offense, and they see that offense did back in 2019 under Joe Brady. And a lot of people said, hey, what about Joe Brady? What if Joe Brady came back to LSU? It's not happening. He's holding out for a head coaching job in the league. Yeah. So I think they go out and get somebody else right now. I know it's a hot topic, and a lot of people have put their bets on who it could be. It was really funny. I said, all right, y'all want really outside the box? Okay. Yeah, I said Saban goes back to LSU and says, I want to finish here. I've always wanted to come back to Baton Rouge. I think they would take the statue down in Tuscaloosa.
Okay, well, if you're going to do that, what if that happens and Alabama hires Pete Golden as the next coach? You talking about some pissed off Bama fans, me included.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, but yeah, I said, watch it. I said they keep throwing out all these names with LSU ties. They're forgetting the best one, and I said it's Nick Saban. Mm-hmm. So it's really crazy.
Ray Perkins 2.0.
Yeah, Ray Perkins. Oh goodness. Okay. Last one I got. What if Georgia runs the table? In the last 3 times SEC team has won the national title, they've gone undefeated. They've been talked about as one of the best teams in the last 10, 20 years. Last year's Alabama team, and then, of course, year before with LSU. So what if Georgia runs the table? 15-0. Are they going to be up there with some of the best of recent SEC national title teams?
Yes, I do believe so, just because of how legit that defense is.
Yeah.
Now, I do give them credit on the defense, but me personally, I still think, and I know Corey's in the chat tonight, so I'll just be honest, but if you stop their running attack and make Spencer throw it, and try to beat you, I still do not believe he can do it.
But you bad mouth Stetson Bennett.
Stetson. So I just
the fourth.
Because look what happened to him in Tuscaloosa last year when they played.
Oh yeah, he got out of his mind.
Right.
He does. I think I'm not really sure. I haven't looked at the SEC stats this week, but last week he had a over 200 passer rating, so he's doing his job. The running game's coming around for them, and of course that defense is going to keep you in any game you got out there. So
I mean, if your defense on giving up 7 runs a game, I mean, just giving up 1 touchdown, that's
yeah,
it.
that's next level crazy right there.
Real, you think Steven that they're going to need JT for? I mean, maybe, but
No.
I mean, I'm not saying this because I'm an Alabama fan, but I do want Alabama to win out and get to the championship game just for the fact because I want to see how our offense attacks that defense. I think especially in this day and time, a good offense can beat a good defense.
Yeah.
But you got to have an A plus game on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I think Stetson gives them a different dynamic because JT's going to be mobile back there, or immobile, and be a tree, kind of like Peyton Manning, and then you're going to have Bennett who can do something with his legs. He's like kind of the dimension that Matt Corral brings to that offense. But that it gives you another rusher for Georgia. So. But yeah, so we thought we'd have a little bit of fun tonight. Jake, do you have any what ifs?
No, I had one on my head a while ago, but I done lost it. But I do got one.
Okay.
What if Ole Miss beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa and ran the table? Would they have a chance to win the national championship?
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, either if it was Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, or any SEC team that gets in, I think an SEC team right now is the favorite going in, regardless of who it is.
Yeah, and I think just because it sputtered last week in Knoxville. Corral had 230 yards, 34 yards, I think, and a pick, I think. If he did, or something, and but he had 30 carries for like 190 yards on the ground. So hey, it's still above. I'm at 420. I'm at my average. So I think they have a shot. Crazy things can happen if a lot of things like 2007 happen. You may end up with if Georgia beats Alabama, Ole Miss could get into the playoffs. So
and Corey, not Corey, but Steven, I believe, made a post or a comment on the chat. What about an 11-1 Kentucky team? Could they potentially get in the playoff?
No.
You don't think so?
They're too far back. I think so. They're not sexy enough for the playoff committee.
I mean,
hand to God.
I mean, it would be tough for them, I think, because if there's let's see, who's all in the top 10 right now? Outside 5 and 5 to 10.
Oklahoma.
Okay, so they would put Oklahoma in before Kentucky for sure.
Yeah, then you got Penn State, Michigan.
I think. Well, you got Michigan State and Michigan still got to play. I think Penn State, Michigan, and all 3 of those teams.
Then you got Ohio State, yeah.
And then you still got Ohio State. So it's there's still a lot of pandemonium to happen, but I'm not never going to say never because I mean I've seen this crap before.
Yeah, never say never. Yeah, this past week, Georgia 1, Cincy 2, Oklahoma 3, Bama 4, Ohio State 5, Michigan 6, Penn State 7, Oklahoma State 8, Michigan State 9, and then Oregon 10. I was at 11, Ole Miss is 12. You're all the way back at 15, the AP poll. Well, you'll move up one because Coastal Carolina got beat last night. They got scared of all those teams coming to the Fun Belt, and good for them. Got some more crazy. The Conference USA is about to be no more. Nah, AAC robbed them all again. So,
when is the official? When all these talking heads, over the committee finally start putting their rankings out, the ones that actually matter. Is that here in a couple
First
of weeks?
week of November, second week of November.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's coming up pretty soon.
Yeah,
So.
well, I think we still got a couple more weeks. If anybody in our chat knows, we'll be happy to.
Braves are losing 4-2 right now. Dadgummit. So
yeah, Tuesday, November 2nd after week 9. So yeah, we're 2 weeks away from that. So
yeah, it's heck, it'll be here.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a fun ranking. Georgia's obviously going to be number 1. 2, 3, and 4 could go anyway, though. I think. I mean, to them, how they look at it. Do you think right now Cincinnati is a better team than Alabama?
I don't know. I don't know. I've seen Cincinnati play a couple times. I think it would be a good game because they've got some dudes there and they're well coached.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Luke Fickell's a great coach, but that's how they approach it. It's not just computer and all this. There's actually human beings. Now they do make mistakes.
They're a human component, yeah.
Yeah,
but they haven't made a mistake yet, though. If you look at the college football playoff, the best 2 teams have been there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There hasn't been first one with Ohio State, as a 4 seed coming back and beating, Bama. Of course, that was the beginning of the air raid era for Bama, and they weren't very good that year with Blake Sims.
Yeah.
And then Oregon and Free Shoe U were playing in the other one, and you're like Marcus Mariota, the whole flying Hawaiian, Heisman darling against Cardale Jones.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. And they curb stomped them. So, yeah. Guys, it could happen. That's why we say what is. So, but hey, fun time tonight, Jake. Appreciate it, buddy. And for everybody, thanks for participating in our chat. I want to thank Willis Digital Media once again. And for Jake Thomas, I'm Kevin Bohannon. We will see you next week on Best of the West.
Roll Tide. See you, Tennessee.